Good morning, everybody. Or actually, by the time you guys watch this, it'll be the afternoon. But as you can see, I've started working on a new piece. This is the latest commission. You can see the work that's been done on it so far. Again, when it's at this stage, it's really hard to because you're working on this area, then you work on this area, then you work. It's not coming together. The closest we have to it coming together right now is down here, where we got all the folds. Been putting a lot of work in there, but really what I'm doing right now, if you look, is all I'm really doing is spotting the blacks. So I'm putting some blacks in. That way, once you get the blacks, some heavy blacks in, you can start pulling the rest of the work you're doing into that. So, but um, guys, thank you so much for all of the likes. If you follow me on Twitter, you're seeing that I'm doing 365 days of signed comics, and I've really been really surprised and by all of the likes and also the comments. Some people are like putting comments in and and all, and I like it. Thank you very much. I mean, I'm doing it just a you know, hey, the reason why I'm here is for comics, and try to steer away from all the drama. So first and foremost, I need to get some thank yous out to Marcus Kilgrew, um, Kevin Wolf, Michael Snow, along with Snuggy, Astro Zombie, Duck Bacon. I know I'm forgetting some people, but thank you very much for all of the likes. Feel free to comment. So, what I'm going to try to do is, if I don't have anything to talk about, what I'll do is I'll talk about why I picked the certain books. So right now, I started on the first, I've got 4 books that I've posted so far. The first book I posted was Action Comics issue 651. This is where Maxima returns after her debut, and I could have gone with that the first issue Maxima appears. I didn't primarily because the color it was a black and red cover primarily. It's a George Perez cover, so it's very complex. And while I do have that one signed by Brett Breeding and Glenn Whitmore, um, the signatures kind of bleed into the blackness, so I didn't really want to have to take like multiple pictures right off the bat. So that's the reason why I went with the second one. And the second appearance, the one that I posted, has a very nice design to it. Maximus front and center. Superman's all but used as a framing device for her. And so I wanted to go with that one first. 'Cause, I mean, not just is it Maximus. I enjoyed Maximus' character, but also I liked it's a George Perez book, and everybody knows I'm a huge George Perez fan, so I kind of had to go with that one. So the second one I went with was Adventure Comics. This was with Superboy Prime, and it was a crossover with Blackest Night. And again, as Jerry Ordway did the pencils, and Francis Manipold did the backup story in it. So posted that one primarily because I mean and the thing is I do like Superboy Prime, which is basically it's like I mean everybody's like, well, what would Superman be like if he wasn't raised by his parents? Well, we know what the answer is. We get Superboy Prime. So so that's the reason why especially when they do the Superman All In, they're doing the changes and everything with the characters. I'm like, you don't need to. You got a great character right there for you to play with. So, but yeah, I just like the how he is being tormented. He's on Earth Prime, and how at the very end he thinks that he has peace, but then there's Lori Luma is looking over his shoulder. I think it's Lori, and here she's got that hint that she's one of the dead characters, and thinks he has peace, and the book ends. So, and then of course we follow that up with All Star Squadron issue 7. Now, hold on a second here, guys. Sorry about that, guys. I had a bad cough. Had to get that out. Um, but All Star Squadron issue number 7. This one has great significance to me, which is the reason why I had the endeavor to get the signatures I have on it. All Star Squadron issue number 7 was my first issue of All Star Squadron that I ever got. I got that one, and it was so cool because it didn't have Superman, didn't have Batman, didn't have Wonder Woman. Who are all these new characters? Oh wow, look, they're bursting through the newspaper print, and just who are these new characters? For me, they're new. For many others, so it's like, oh, they're the classic characters of this, and this. When they bought Charlotte in comics, da da da. But I just really liked it, and so I remember, I think it was like the very last day of school at the Kubrick School, I went up and asked Joe to sign that issue. So he signed it. I've had it for a number of years, back since '97, and then so it was actually one of the very first books I had Jerry Ordway sign. So it was like one of those where it's like, yeah, I gotta have him sign that. So that was just having Jerry sign it was great, and then having the opportunity years later to have Roy Thomas sign it, and for him to talk to me about how essentially it was he had the opportunity to do a Justice Society comic, but because it was wartime, he just didn't want to have it as a Justice Society comic, so he had it where all the characters are forming a temporary team, and that's where the idea of the All-Star Squadron came in. So to have all 4 of those signatures was just awesome. Or actually 3, all 3 of those signatures are it's just awesome. That is honestly one of my favorite books in my collection. Just because it was the first issue of All Star Squadron, and have so many creators on the book uh, to sign it. So that's one of those books where it's like, I don't think I'll ever be able to part with that book. So, and then they followed it up with another All Star Squadron book. It was issue 38. I see when I read the book as a kid, I didn't know. I was a big history buff, but I didn't know that during World War II there were race riots in Detroit. So I didn't know that. So when I discovered it years later, made it even more like, oh wow, how like he was pulling from actual history to do the story. So that made it even more like cooler for me. And then of course, what also makes that book significant was it was also pre-crisis. Remember, for about a year and a half before the Crisis of Infinite Earths, they were hinting at the Monitor throughout the DC books, where he was this mysterious character, and he was all of a sudden, you thought he was a master villain because he was always pinning these villains against the heroes, and here he's saying he was testing them. And then, of course, we know what happened actually when you actually get into Crisis of Infinite Earths as to why he was testing them, and he picked specific characters from across the multiverse, from the Infinite Earths, to fight the Infinite Crisis against the Anti-Monitor. Of course, we didn't know it at the time, so just like every single issue throughout DC, not every issue, but like periodically, he'd pop up as this mysterious character, and you thought he was a master villain, but than we discover later on. But it was still, because he's always shrouded in blackness. You kind of got, and when he finally did the reveal in issue number 1 of Crisis on Infinite Earths, you could see that they knew what he was going to look like, but they were under strict instructions to black him out or have him all completely in blackness, so you didn't, to keep the mystery alive as to who this was. So I thought that was really. I remember like after when we realized it was going back through all my comic books and like finding those issues where he was in it to see what like to see that. And I know remember the other thing also they were showing throughout it. They were showing the Monitor's satellite. The only thing you ever saw was the Monitor's satellite. Sometimes you'd see Lita, but mainly it was he was always shrouded in darkness. So, but I really like that, and so, and I just and to have like Jerry Ordway did the cover art for that book, and then it was Rick Buckler, inked by Mike by Mike DiCarlo. So to have both those signatures again was a treat for me. So, and that's what you're going to see a lot of times. Is you're going to see where a lot of the books I post, um, either their books have significance to me, it, with the history of me of being a comic book fan, or they might be books with multiple signatures. And when I go and I get a book that's signed by, let's say, um, it's a Batman issue, and I have it, and it was signed by Mike Mike Barr, and I have the opportunity to get uh, the artist or the colorist or the letterer or even the artist or the inker. If I have the opportunity, I'm going to, not because of uh, the how old the book is, because when Mike was doing books, but because the issue most likely has a significance to me. So for instance, if I had the opportunity to have it signed like Batman and the Outsiders issue number 1, I have that signed by Mike Barr. If I had the opportunity to get Jim Aparo to sign it, I definitely would have had him sign it. So that's where it's like many times now. It's not about, ooh, I got multiple signatures on this book, therefore the book's worth more. No, for me it's one of those where it's like I had to have picked a. The reason why I had someone sign that book was for a specific reason, which means that which means it just adds to the significance of the book to me. So I know there's a couple books, there's a one or two books that you guys are gonna be like, oh wow, because of all the signatures on them, and you'll be seeing some soon. Now another thing also is I'm already. Remember when I said last week about how um, if there's times where a DC book or a Marvel book I don't have a lot of a certain letter. Well, we're already there. Remember, my rule of thumb is like 5 DC, 5 Marvel, 2 independent. Well, I'm already there where I'm pulling an audible because after when I hit the B's, I only have like 2 books of Marvel books signed that are in the B's. So we're gonna have it's gonna be heavy with DC and heavy with the independent books. So, but So, and like I said, as when I'm with this piece, I'm just spotting blacks. You can see where I'm not really going hardcore into this here. The most I'm really putting work into blend it all together is down here. I probably will do some more work on this during today down in this area. Reason being, working down here is because it's not easy for me to keep this in frame while I'm working on it and have real good quality. That's the reason why a lot of times I'll like off camera, I'll work down here and save like up here for when I'm doing the video. So that's the reason why I do what I do. So, but I've got this piece. I'm already, even though this piece is, I have till the end of the month to have this done. The piece I have right after that is a dog, and it's same size, and I gotta get that one done by the 21st of February. So I'm already feeling under the gun with this piece, even though I've got a long deadline with it. So don't be surprised if uh, you guys, like next weekend, you see my video and there's a lot more done on this, or it's almost done. It's because I'm going to be putting a lot of time into this piece. So, but guys, I hope you guys all have a great day. You know I'm going to have a great day working on this piece. But remember, when life is stressful, just take it all one dot at a time.